For no good reason other than you've been curious to see God right there where you are. Okay. You're welcome. Hands. At the table.
Thank you. This is sort of a follow-up on his question when you said there was no rationalization for those accidents to be happening to him. How does that tie into there are no accidents? I feel like I have a piece of that understanding missing about no accidents.
Meaning that in some way it must have been on purpose.
Well, I think...
Not purposeless.
Oh, I got it. Okay. I think I got it. Do I have it?
Will you share with everyone what you got?
I'm not sure. There can be a purpose for everything happening, whether or not what happens was done on purpose by anyone. No, I guess I can't.
I like your honesty. There's only one thing going on. God being all there is. How you experience that depends upon the filters you have in place between you and the allness of God that you're observing. Something happened that he's calling getting hit on the head or getting hepatitis C. Something's happening. But do you think that's what God is being? Even though that's the way he is perceiving it, the way the physicians are perceiving it, and so on. No, that isn't what's happening. So there isn't a cause for the perception the physician is having. There is a cause for an event which is misperceived by the physician and misperceived by him as long as he believes what the physician says. To be healed of the misperception of getting hit, you have to be willing to see more than your perception allowed you to see. So you get hit and you say, ouch, and then you instead of getting mad, you say, wait a minute, what happened? What happened with a capital H? You see? So that you might get the insight to the divine truth that couldn't possibly have involved injury of any kind.
I think it's sinking in, but I'm not sure that I could ever relay it back right now.
You will always see as much of reality as you are able to at the moment. There are no accidents. Means that there is no event that ever happens outside of the movement of God. and therefore nothing could have happened that would have been injurious. And therefore there is no explanation or justification for something that was perceived to be injurious. There are no accidents means that the accident you saw didn't happen. And there's no explanation for something that didn't happen. And so you want to know what is the truth here. Where I thought I saw an accident, what is the truth here? Where I seemed to be in a wheelchair and immobile, what is the truth here? Because that can't be the truth of me, and it can't be the actuality of me. It can't be real. It is therefore illegitimate, and there is nothing of substance to it to substantiate it in my experience. Therefore, I am willing to let it go. You see?
So if something happens,
And God didn't do it. It didn't happen.
well, he's got some splaining to do. Just kidding. Thank you.
And that's exactly why you can experience healing from the seeming evidence of an accident. If there was purpose, if there was actual purpose to what you've experienced as an accident, if there was an actual reason for it, like I told him, he would be stuck with the effect. There could be no healing. There are no accidents. It doesn't mean it happened for a reason. It's real. It means there are no accidents, and therefore the accident you perceived didn't happen, isn't real, and therefore you can experience no legitimate effects from it that you're stuck with.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. The lady on the floor here? No, right.
It's very nice to be here.
It's wonderful to have you here.
I wonder how your answer to him and to that woman who I couldn't see about healing and perception ties in with what you said earlier about how things come into your sphere or existence, what I think I understood you said, to push us to the next level. And sometimes people have illnesses or situations so that they can learn from it, and they have to have it for a while in order to learn or to teach others or to help others? Or is it always just that we just need to see that we don't actually have the illness and see God instead?
Let's start with the part about being pushed to grow, to become free of illegitimate boundaries. This happens because you never became limited in the manner that you think you are limited. And the allness, the wholeness of you that never went anywhere is dominant, actually, and therefore is constantly insinuating itself into the boundaries you've created and in which you hold your sense of yourself. So it's your very own real being that is constantly pressuring your tiny sense of yourself that you're entertaining to let go of its boundaries. That's inevitable. Now, this totality of you that is insinuating itself into your limits is divine. Therefore, it doesn't set up problems for you. This movement of expansion is truly one of reintegration and therefore one of healing. And it is It is naturally harmonious. Okay? If, however, you get real satisfaction out of being pissed off at things, or there are other habits of tininess of mind that you insist upon exercising, you present resistance to the insinuation of the totality of yourself, and therefore an experience of conflict or tension that is uncomfortable because it's so completely unnatural to what you divinely are. You inevitably get the feedback, hey, this is not consistent with what you really are. You are divine, and if you insist on acting as though you are not, you will always have feedback that says you're off the track. This is incongruent with who you are. And those may appear to be experienced as problems, as stumbling blocks. But your divinity does not give you a specific problem. It gives you an answer that you resist, and the experience of resistance hurts. Okay? That you are hurting is no accident. But also what's happening isn't an accident. And the answer, as I said, is to be curious as to the truth here. Now, the Course says that the Holy Spirit can turn every circumstance to your advantage. Okay, that doesn't mean that the Holy Spirit gives you a disease so that you will grow and learn what you need to learn. The Holy Spirit is another word, or are two words that describe your divinity held in trust while you dally with the ego. So, your divinity, alias the Holy Spirit, is constantly insinuating your full conscious awareness of yourself into your limited conscious awareness of yourself. And you resist it and you hurt. But the constant insinuation of the infinite you is a harmonizing thing. And so, as it continues to insist its way into your experience, it uncovers to you the impracticality and stupidity of the limit you're holding on to, and you say, wow, that infirmity, that difficulty that I experienced, I learned so much from. And you could say, the Holy Spirit turned your problem to your advantage. Actually, all it did was it uncovered the resistance you were presenting to it, and then uncovered what you were resisting that was so good that you let go of your resistance. But it didn't create a problem for you for your benefit. It's always providing the answer, the larger picture, the infinite view, which is your natural frame of reference. And it's saying, come on, embrace, come out of your insanity. Come out of your very partial view of everything that you're insisting upon holding on to. You see?
Yes, I have to think about it a bit, I think. I wonder, I work with people that are sick or injured. And I wonder if I'm doing a disservice by recommending things that further their view of themselves as sick or injured. And I mean, then how not to, how to work with them in a way that doesn't do that, but that also doesn't make them feel like they're not being heard, or that, what they're experiencing is not real in that prior moment.
Yes, you cannot come up to someone who has no comprehension of what we're talking about and saying, oh, well, that isn't real. Their experience is causing them to bring their attention to an area of their experience that they've been ignoring. It causes them to bring enough love to themselves to take care of themselves. They say it's so I won't hurt. But it's really their opportunity to consciously love themselves and give themselves enough time to take care of themselves and stop giving preference to others. And for many people this is very difficult because they're always thinking of everyone else. When you have a pain, you can't ignore it, which means you can't ignore yourself, which means that you have to give attention to yourself, which is an act of love. So, even if you are telling them things that seem to stand in support of an injury or the reality of a problem, you are engaging them in actively caring for themselves, and you can find ways to share with them the fact that, scientifically speaking, it has been found that when the body is loved, it responds with its natural healing processes, that it is naturally geared to heal itself, and that the love and caring that they're bringing to it stands in support of that, and that their awareness of this will help speed up the recovery. And you can speak in terms of recovery without making unreasonable promises to them, and help them get into a frame of mind that allows for the possibility of improvement that they had been unable to imagine could happen. It's an attitude that you can help them embrace without making false promises, you see. You can inspire the kind of curiosity that I've been talking about today, even if it's just a little bit of curiosity to see healing. Somebody breaks their leg, they have it in a cast. You don't say, well, you're a divine idea and you can levitate. You say, you don't say that. You say, go down and rent some crutches or get a wheelchair. You give them the practical thing to do. And always try to convey to them that this is an act of self-love and self-appreciation, and that they're worth it. If the women are worth their bleached hair product, everyone is worth having their comfort and their crutches. It's an act of self-appreciation and self-love that's honorable. But at the same time that you meet the need where they perceive the need, you can also inspire them to have an attitude of curiosity to see more healing than they're anticipating. All you have to do is just open a little crack of curiosity to benefit them by causing them to be willing to embrace more than they're inclined to, because it happened to so-and-so, and they didn't get better, and it's in the family, or it's in my heritage, and so they've got this very definite closed system that they are limiting themselves. They are appreciating the heritage, and they are reinforcing the heritage, you see. God, the Holy Spirit, does not give you diseases and problems for your benefit. You always are being given the capital A answer that you can either accept or resist, and if you resist it, you're going to be uncomfortable. But because the impulse that is triggering your resistance is the reality of you, then its ultimate message is going to be the uncovering of the uselessness of the limit you're fighting for. And so it's going to turn your practice of resistance to your advantage by showing you that it's useless and that you can give it up and experience the more of you that it's your birthright to be experiencing, because you are and have never stopped being divine, the ultimate. You see? Does that answer your question?
It doesn't. My last part of the question is when you have an acute moment of you break your leg, or you can't breathe, or you're in a wheelchair, or whatever it is, and that is your reality in that moment, or you're weak or tired from hepatitis, whatever it is. Even if you have a realization or you think you have an understanding, most often it doesn't translate into healing in that moment. Is that because the cells take longer to hear the message than the mind? Or
No.
Why, if somebody in this room sort of gets it, why aren't they throwing down their crutches?
If they get it, they do. And it can happen just like that. What do they say? Old habits die hard. But what I'm trying to convey to you is that your old habits don't really have any more substance than the validation you bring to them about them. And in my being with you, I'm constantly breaking down the validations you are bringing to your sense of limitation so that you do have an aha. But sometimes the ahas come in little steps. And so, you think you have an understanding, there is an aha, but you're not out of the wheelchair. Well, you say, thank God for the wheelchair. Thank God for the crutches. You say, thank God I have a bed to rest in, and thank God I'm giving myself permission to rest. I love myself enough to accept myself where I am without believing that where I am is absolute. You see? Without believing that where I am is a fact set in concrete by an act of God. And so you love yourself enough to give your permission to do what meets the need, while at the same time persisting in the curiosity to see that need evaporate until it's gone, whether it evaporates instantaneously or slowly. You see? Your experience of your wholeness or we could say holiness, is a worthy cause for you to get behind and persist in having the experience of. Whether it comes instantaneously or not. And the process is one that will be filled with delight if you let it begin to happen, because it is constituted of discoveries of greater limitlessness on a daily basis. Really, our conversation today has had to do with cultivating an attitude of willingness to let in a greater experience of what you divinely are. And I've told you that there's no door that's closed in this regard, and that you're always standing at the threshold of an expanded view. And to take advantage of it, whether you're looking at a box of cereal or whatever, you see. I am doing exactly what I am suggesting that you do when you're working with your people. Because it's like the course of an arrow depends upon the position you're holding the bow. So the course of your enlightenment will be governed by the amount of curiosity or the degree of disinterest you are bringing into play. You will wake up because you are the ultimate expression of God, no matter what your current sense of limitation is. And so it is inevitable that you will wake up. It will happen with more grace and more delight if you are really curious to experience it and let it in.
Thank you.
You are welcome. We will take a break, but let's remain seated. Okay. Hands? The gentleman in the back?
Thank you, Raj. I'm not Bob, but I feel vindicated. This is, I think, similar to the last question. I've been having the ongoing for years this nightmare of being like suffocated or buried alive, and just as I get to that point where I think I can break through, I just wake up and then there I am. I'm stuck wondering what was that, and why does it keep coming back? And I got the thought the other day: was do I feel trapped in the physical body, and that I've been given this stubborn Taurus demeanor to make me so grounded that I can't, escape as easily as I might have had I been somebody else? Did I give myself this?
What an incredible,
Yeah.
imaginative explanation.
I've been struggling with it, so I just wondered what that is, because it keeps coming back at me.
Can you see that he has an explanation? Taurus, blah, blah, blah. And if that were true, he's stuck, poor fellow.
Like I say, I'm grasping at straws as to, for explanations.
Sometimes it's easier to see it about somebody else than oneself.